They thought the asylum was empty. But inside those crumbling walls, something waited. Something that remembered every scream, every broken soul, and every secret buried in the dark. And tonight, it wanted new voices to join the silence. Years ago, this place was bustling with activity. Doctors, nurses, and patients filled the halls. There were 24/7s. Then suddenly, everything stopped. The equipment was ripped out, the windows boarded up. No one has entered or exited the building since. But some say when the moon is full, you can hear the whispers of the asylum's former patients. Can you hear them? Maybe they're calling out to you. This place has a terrible history. It's said that many patients died here under mysterious circumstances. Their bodies would just turn up missing from their beds. Some say it was the doctors, but others say it was something more sinister, something that lurks in the shadows, waiting for its next victim. Do you dare enter the asylum and find out for yourself? As the whispers grew louder, the group panicked. They ran, crashing through the asylum's halls, the whispers following close behind them. The exit seemed miles away, the iron gates now a distant memory. Their breaths echoed in their ears, matching the relentless rhythm of their pounding hearts. Just when their lungs burned and their legs screamed for rest, the friends burst out of the asylum. The night was colder now, the mist thicker, as if the asylum itself had exhaled its icy breath onto the world. Gasping, they stumbled back. Chloe noticed a dark shape at the edge of the light, the same shape she'd seen in the mural, the one with the clawed-out eyes. Stunned, she pointed. The figure raised its head, revealing a horrifying sight. Its eyes were two black pits where the pupils burned like embers. The creature let out a long, chilling howl that tore through the night. Then it moved, melting into the darkness. Daniel dropped the camera, his face drained of color. I need to call the police," he stammered, his voice shaking. But Lena grabbed his arm. "No time," she said, her eyes wild. "We have to get out of here." She pulled him toward the car, her own terror fueling a strange strength. Inside the car, they sped away from the asylum, the creature's howls fading into the night. No one spoke, each lost in their own terror. The image of the creature burned in their minds, the sound of its whispers echoing in their ears. They didn't dare look back. When Lena finally slammed on the brakes, the sun was rising, turning the sky into hues of orange and red. They had made it out. They were safe, or so they thought. Back at school, the friends couldn't focus on their classes. The walls seemed to close in, the whispers echoing in the hallways. Every creak of the old building sent shivers down their spines. They couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. Days turned into weeks, but the asylum loomed over them, its dark presence seeping into their lives. They tried to convince themselves it was all in their heads, just stress and exhaustion. But then strange things began to happen. Objects moved on their own, books fell off shelves, and they often heard the sound of their own names whispered on the wind. Fear became a constant companion. Sleep offered no escape, haunted by nightmares of the asylum and its whispering inmates. One night, Chloe awoke to find Lena standing over her eyes, wide with terror. "It's getting worse," Lena whispered, her voice hoarse. "I keep hearing voices, seeing things. I think it's the curse. It's driving us crazy." The next day, they decided to confront their fears, to return to the asylum and put their story to rest once and for all. Armed with cameras and audio recorders, they retraced their steps through the asylum's silent halls. But the silence was more terrifying than any scream, pressed against them, heavy and suffocating. The whispering voices seemed closer now, as if reaching out to drag them back into the darkness. Suddenly, Chloe gasped. On the floor lay a pile of old photographs, yellowed with age. One picture caught her eye, showed the staff of the asylum, their faces beaming with forced cheerfulness. Among them, she saw the creature, the one from the mural, its eyes burning like coals. And then she noticed something horrifying. The faces of the staff had been crudely scratched out, leaving only the creature staring back at her. With shaking hands, she gathered the pictures, their edges crumbling in her grasp. Outside, the sun was setting, casting long shadows over the asylum. The friends felt the weight of the asylum's curse pressing down on them. Fear threatened to consume them, but now they had a choice. Run from the darkness or face it head-on. Together, they made their decision. Wouldn't let the asylum win. They would expose its secrets to the world. The battle between darkness and light had begun. They moved deeper into Hollow Creek, following a long hall where the paint peeled like old skin. Their flashlights made weak islands of light, and the darkness felt thicker with each step. Somewhere above them, something creaked, as if a heavy body was shifting in the rafters. "Let's grab a few shots of the old records," Daniel said, trying to sound calm for the camera.
Oh!
People love paper trails. They ducked into a room labeled administration. Metal filing cabinets leaned at weird angles. The floor was covered in scattered folders and brittle forms. A wall calendar hung by one nail. The month was October. The year had been torn away. Chloe crouched and picked up a brown folder with water stains. "Patient intake forms," she whispered. "Names, dates, reasons for admission." She flipped the page and frowned. "Listen to this. Patient hears voices. Patient screams at night. Patient refuses to stay quiet." "Creepy but standard," Marcus muttered. Chloe shook her head and held up a second sheet. "It says transferred to quiet ward. Ordered by Dr. Halden. Treatment, stillness procedure." "Stillness procedure," Lena repeated. "What is that?" No one answered. They didn't know yet. They would. Metal cart stood in the corner with a dusty tape recorder on it. Daniel brushed off the top and found a labeled cassette. Ward C staff briefing. He gave a crooked smile no one believed. There's only one way to find out. He pressed play. The tape word. For a few seconds, there was only hiss. Then a man's voice came through. Calm, deep and wrong. "This is Dr. Halden. Quiet ward protocol begins at sundown. No talking, no humming, no prayers. Silence is the cure. If a patient cannot keep silence, the stillness procedure will be performed. Tongue binds, jaw straps, if necessary. Removal. Click. The recorder stopped by itself. Chloe covered her mouth. "Removal," she whispered. As if the room didn't like the sound of that word, the light above them buzzed once and went out. They stood in the beam of their flashlights, all for breathing fast. From the hallway, something tapped. Soft, careful taps like someone knocking with one finger. Lena peered out. "Hello," her voice shook. "Anyone there?" Tap, tap, tap. The tapping moved right to left, stopping outside the door. Daniel lifted the camera. "Who's there?" he asked. "We're filming a school project. We're not here to..." A second sound cut him off. A tiny bell. Ding. It rang once, then twice, then again slow, steady, like a clock made of bone. With each ding, the air grew colder. "The schedule," Chloe murmured. "Hospitals ring bells on schedules." "Or to start something," Marcus said. They left the administration office and followed the dinging down the hall. It led them to a door with a rotten wooden sign hanging by wire. Ward C, quiet. Lettering had been carved into the wood below it. Deep and ugly. Nitrogen monoxide. Voices. This story is called The Quiet Ward. It was late at night and four friends, Daniel, Marcus, Chloe, and Lena, were exploring an abandoned hospital. They had found a hidden service tunnel and were venturing into its darkness when they heard a noise. "Guys," Daniel whispered. "Maybe we don't," but the door pushed open at the lightest touch. As if something on the other side had been waiting with its hand on the knob, the quiet ward was different from the rest. The walls were soundproofed with padded panels, torn in places like claw marks. The room doors had small square windows clouded with age. Straps hung from hooks on the walls. A metronome sat on a nurse's station desk, tilted on its side, the arms stuck in the middle. The sound was faint, but it was there, even though the arm never moved. "This place is worse," Lena said, her voice now a breath. At the first door window, Daniel wiped a circle in the grime and looked in. The other saw his face go pale. Spirals that overlapped, pressed over and over like someone had traced the same shape until their nails broke. The far corner was a shadow that didn't belong to anything. Chloe tugged on Lena's sleeve, pointing to a chalkboard behind the nurse's desk. A schedule was still written there, dusty but readable. 6 o'clock p.m., silence begins. 7 p.m. rounds, no talking. 8 o'clock p.m. Stillness procedure if needed. 9 o'clock p.m. Lights dim. 10 o'clock p.m. Final checks 11 o'clock p.m. Voices removed beneath the list. A childlike hand had written one crooked line. They take the words first. Lena's throat tightened. We should go. They turned to leave on. That's when they heard it. A voice, soft and dry. Coming from behind the nurse's desk, papers fluttered as if a passerby had brushed them. The metronome clicked louder without moving. Lena grabbed his arm. Don't shout, swore. She didn't finish. A door down the hall creaked open by itself. Then another, and another. Hinges whining. Locks clicking. Something was letting them out. From one room, footsteps padded onto the tile. Bare feet, slowly, carefully. Then more feet from another room. And another. The footsteps didn't rush. They gathered. They listened.
Yes.
Chloe's voice cracked. Please, we're leaving. Low breeze rolled through the hall, but the windows were nailed shut. The breeze pressed on their mouths, dry and dusty, tasting like old bandages. Daniel raised the camera to his face and choked. His eyes went wide. Run, he gasped, voice thin and crushed. Now, Lena didn't ask why. She pulled Chloe's hand, and they backed toward the quiet ward door. Footsteps followed, never speeding up, never stopping. When they reached the hall door, Marcus grabbed the knob and yanked. Didn't move. He swore under his breath and pulled harder. The door didn't even rattle. The bell rang once above them. Damned, the footsteps stopped. For a long moment, there was nothing. No sound, no breathing. Even the metronome went still. Then, from right behind Marcus's shoulder, a whisper, soft as a moth's wing. She. Marcus spun. The flashlight hit a face inches from his own. A pale face. No eyebrows. No hair, and no mouth. Smooth skin stretched where a mouth should be, puckered and scarred. The thing's chest rose and fell like it was trying to pant, but no sound came. Its eyes begged, help me or be quiet or both. It reached for his throat with thin, shaking hands. Marcus screamed, but the sound broke in the middle like something pinched it shut. He staggered backward into Chloe, who screamed too. Only a squeak came out. Their voices were failing, being stolen. Lena slammed both palms against the door and prayed with all the breath she had left. And the bell above them chimed a second time. They stumbled through as a crowd of figures pressed forward out of the quiet ward, dozens, maybe more. All in ragged hospital gowns. All with smooth, silent mouths. As they fled, a single thought burned through her mind. They take the words first. Hello friends, I'm here. Make videos about scary things that go bump in the night. And sometimes those things are found in the scariest places of all. Hospitals. They were visiting Hollow Creek Mental Hospital, abandoned 30 years ago after budget cuts forced its closure. But the town legends say that some patients never left. Today we're exploring the grounds of Hollow Creek Mental Hospital. This place has quite a reputation in our community. Several people have told me stories about it, stories of ghostly apparitions and terrifying encounters. That's why I brought my good friend Ghostfinder Pro, the Spirit Box. With this, we'll be able to communicate with any spirits around us. Maybe we'll find some answers today. Come with me now on a journey through the hospital grounds. We're going to start in the old treatment center. I don't know much about what happened here, but these kinds of centers are rarely used in modern mental hospitals. So what exactly went on here? I can't say for sure, but I do know it's a great place for hiding. Wait, what was that? Just above me, something fell in the attic. Let's investigate. I wonder what kind of things might be up here. Look at this. Someone left their lunch. How sad. I wonder what they ate. Oh, how delicious. Hey, Ghost Finder, let's see what you got for us. Delicious food. Yummy. I hope that wasn't directed at the squirrel that just ran by. Let's keep looking. What's this? An old record player? Oh, cool. And the music starts. Wow, it looks like someone left their favorite band playing. They must have loved Billie Eilish. But there's no way someone was up here recently. This hospital has been abandoned for 30 years. Back. Get away. Back. Okay, maybe nobody was up here in the last 30 years. It's time to leave the treatment center and check out the main building. On the way, we'll pass the old pharmacy. I don't know what these pills are, but I can't imagine anyone taking this medication today. Let's see what the Ghost Finder has to say about that. Medication. Medicine. Time for a field test. Let's finish up here and check out the last building, the dormitory. What secrets will this place hold? What stories will the walls tell? I wonder what the Ghost Finder has to say about that. Tell my story. Tell our story. Wait, what was that? Did you hear that? Someone or something wants us to tell their story? Help us. They want us to help them. But how can we do that? Well, that depends on what they want. Are you listening, Ghost Finder? Quiet. Be quiet. No talking. Ah, so they just want us to be quiet. Easy enough. But then the strangest thing happened. As I turned to leave, I heard a whisper behind me. Don't go. I turned back to the dormitory, but there was nothing there. Was it a trick of the wind? A figment of my imagination? Or was it something more? I don't know. And maybe it doesn't matter. Some mysteries are better left unsolved. Some doors are best left unopened. Because sometimes the things we don't know are scarier than anything we could ever imagine. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please follow for more content. And until next time, remember, some things are better left unknown. See you later. Thank you for tuning in. This chilling tale was sent in by our subscriber, and this is the horrifying matron. This creepypasta is inspired by a true story, which I'll tell you about after the video. Our story begins with a group of paranormal investigators exploring an abandoned hospital. As they venture deeper into the eerie silence of the building, they can feel the temperature dropping around them. The air grows thick with dust, each footstep echoing ominously in the cavernous halls. Their investigation leads them to a forgotten wing of the hospital, where they discover an old records room. The heavy wooden door is broken, as if someone had desperately tried to keep whatever was inside from getting out. Inside, they find shelves crammed with rotting files, each folder bearing the name of a child who once stayed in this hospital. As they open the files, they uncover a dark secret. Decades ago, this hospital had a special ward for children deemed too troublesome, too loud, or too restless. The children were sent there without warning, never to be seen again. What they learn is that the staff resorted to cruel punishments rather than treatment. And one name keeps popping up, that of a head nurse known only as the matron. Even the doctors and other staff members seemed afraid of her. According to the reports, she believed that silence was the cure for everything. Even if that meant using muzzles, locking kids in rooms, or, in the worst cases, sewing their lips shut with needle and thread. As one of the investigators reads these disturbing accounts, another notices something odd. They hear the faint chime of a bell, soft and hollow, as if carried on the wind. They assume it's just a trick of their memory, the sound of a nurse's call bell from days gone by. But then the bell chimes again, clearer this time. It's coming from the broken intercom above them. Suddenly, the hair on the back of their necks stands up. They know this hospital hasn't had power for decades, yet the intercom crackles to life. Then the unthinkable happens. A woman's lullaby drifts through the static. The voice is soft but wrong, distorting the melody in ways that make their skin crawl. Just as they start to panic, they see her. The matron, she stands tall at the far end of the room, her face hidden by a black veil. Her hands are clasped together, holding a long silver needle dangling with black thread that drips like ink. Every time the bell chimes, she moves closer, not by walking, but by abruptly snapping into place. One moment she's across the room, the next right in front of them. Their breath catches in their throats, because she exudes an oppressive silence. When she appears, even their panicked breaths seem muted. Terror grips them, and they scramble for the door, knowing that if they make a sound, she'll notice. But it's too late. One of them lets out a scream, and instantly the matron turns her head toward the noise. In a flash, she lunges at them, her thread whipping through the air, missing them by a hair's breadth. It burns their skin where it passes, and they know if she touched them, it would cut deep. Thinking fast, one of them remembers the camera they used earlier to record the faint laughter of children near the morgue. They desperately play it back on the speaker. The sound fills the room and the matron stops, drawn to the laughter like a moth to a flame. She slowly drifts toward the intercom system, pressing her hand against the static-filled speaker. Her body begins to blur, fading into the wires. Without a second's hesitation, they yank the main breaker down. The power cuts off, and with a bone-chilling scream, the matron vanishes into the silence. They stumble out of the hospital, gasping for air, believing they have escaped the nightmare. But that night, when each of them returns home, they hear it again, soft, distant, and undeniable. The bell rings once, twice, and then silence follows. The matron's curse is no longer trapped in the hospital, has followed them home. And now, for the story behind this creepypasta. As I mentioned at the beginning, this story is inspired by a real place. I'm referring, of course, to the Cane Hill Hospital, which is a real abandoned hospital in England with a rumored dark past. The urban legend surrounding it is similar to the story I just read to you, with claims of a cruel head nurse named Margaret or Maggie. Cane Hill. Like in the story, Cane Hill Hospital had a special ward for unruly children. It was said that she used extreme methods to subdue them, including forced medication and even sewing their mouths shut. There are also tales of her using a sinister bell to control the children and of her spirit haunting the hospital grounds. The legend goes that if you visit the hospital at night and listen closely, you might hear the faint sound of children crying and the eerie chime of a bell. Some say it's the sound of Margaret Cane Hill calling out for her lost children. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button. Also, if you have a creepy story you'd like to share, consider submitting it to me through the link in the description. Who knows, your story could become a creepypasta. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, and remember, some doors are better left unopened.